Alright, so hopefully uh, Tuesday of next week or Wednesday of next week, I can hopefully start up on building the Mikomo variant of the Draken 3. The reason why I'm going to take that long to actually to actually really start this thing, to actually start building this thing is because I have to order some connectors. I forget what type they're called. That way, so I can actually have a way to connect the wings to the wings, the LEDs in the wings, to everything inside the body and whatnot. Basically, just like the original Draken 3, I'm gonna be adding LEDs all throughout this one too. So I want to have a way to where I can disconnect the winglets and have it so I can easily store and whatnot. So yeah. That's the only real thing I'm waiting. That's the only thing that's really holding me up right now. Because, as you can see, it's finally completed. Again, I don't know how to properly pronounce the guy's name that's been making these models, but he spent a few weeks and retooled the skin and basically made it look exact to the model that's been released over in Japan. The only difference is that there is one little logo that's been removed, and we both agree that it actually looks a lot better with the logo removed. And that said logo used to be right here. There used to be a windmere logo right here. And let me see if I can pause and actually bring up a picture of it. The joys of an Android phone is I can't do proper color balancing, unfortunately. So I am stuck with this horrible oversaturated video. But but this is the logo that used to be on the side. And that's the logo that's on the canopy here. And the reason why, and of course if I zoom out, well, I mean, you'll be able to see the logo clearly when I actually go to print it. But the logo on the model was actually being covered up by the Mikomo decal. So we both went and decided to completely remove that logo because it's kind of pointless to keep that logo there when you have this big, beautiful Mikomo decal just plastered all over the actual aircraft. So, what are my plans for this aircraft? Well, I'm going to make it to scale like the original Draken 3 I made. So it's going to be the exact same size. The only difference is for LED lighting, instead of having red LEDs and whatnot, all the LEDs are going to be white on this one. Excluding the tailpipe here, I think I'm going to keep the engine exhaust area green like on the original one. That way, so I can keep it somewhat like the anime. But for LEDs, I'm going all pure white LEDs because I don't want to worry about them blowing up or whatnot or getting shorted out because I'm running quite a bit of power through them. So, with that said, hopefully I can actually start this up pretty soon because I've been wanting to build this for months now. And of course, I also wanted to talk about one more thing that actually stopped me from, kind of hindered me from actually building this next to me waiting for him to actually finish up the skin. The other thing that kind of held me back was my computer here. I had to go in here and redo my computer case all over again because Windows 10 likes to be a pain in the ass. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm using Microsoft Game Pass to play Sea of Thieves because the game's not worth $60. It's just not. There's little to no content. All the missions are fetch quests. The game is downright beautiful, and it can be fun, but content-wise, it's as big as the sea or whatever that stupid enema is. Fast as the sea, but as deep as a puddle, I guess is what that thing is called. But basically, the easiest way to say this is it's No Man's Sky, but with boats. But unlike No Man's Sky, Sea of Thieves didn't promise the world. So Sea of Thieves does get a pass, at least to me, because No Man's Sky was. But with that said, unfortunately, Sea of Thieves requires Windows 10. And I don't want to downgrade my main Windows 7 drive to Windows 10. So I'd rather have a whole secondary drive that's just specific for Sea of Thieves or any other Windows 10 based game that I want to play. And since I have Microsoft Game Pass, there are other games I can play on my on Windows 10 for free. So I do get a benefit there. And of course I canceled Origin Access. So yeah. So with that said, my initial idea was to just do a simple dual boot system and still keep that nice small case I made. But unfortunately, Windows 10 was being a pain in the ass. And what do I mean? Well, let's say I'm done on Windows 7. I want to boot into Windows 10 and I want to boot into Windows 10 to play Sea of Thieves or whatever. I boot into Windows 10 like normal. And everything functions, but let's say I want to go back to Windows 7 to do something, or I'm just tired of Windows 10 because Windows 10 is butt ugly. And the UI is just total garbage. And Windows 10 is fucking restrictive. So I go to boot into Windows 7. Everything boots normally until I get a disk check. Or Windows 7 wanting to do a disk check. And Windows 7 will only do this after I boot into Windows 10. Because I can let Windows 7 do the disk check thing, and I can reboot back into Windows 7, and after that, it'll never do that again. The only time it does disk check is whenever I boot back into Windows 10, then boot back to and then go back to Windows 7 when I'm done on 10 and whatnot. It's hard for me to explain, but I think you can get the general idea of what I mean. So yeah. After a while, I got fed up. I tried disabling it, and nothing worked. And what got really bad is that Windows 10 started doing a disk check on the main Windows 10 drive. And guess what happened? It nuked itself. It got into an infinite boot loop, and I couldn't do anything. Luckily, I had my Windows 7 drive and my 2TB drive disconnected at the time. And so yeah, I basically saved those two drives from getting nuked by Windows 10. And Windows 7 isn't no different. I've had Windows 7 disk check nuke one of my other drives. It actually nuked my 2TB drive a while back, but luckily there wasn't much data on there at the time, so I didn't lose anything. But yeah, I don't like disk check at all. So basically what I had to do, and sorry about the ramble, but yeah, I should have actually shown the inside of this thing at the very beginning, but whatever. But what I had to do is I had to go in here, make a little cover like you can see right here. And basically right in here, if I can show this off properly, which I really can't. Here is my Windows 10 drive, which is currently disconnected. Right here is my Windows 7 drive. And right over here is my 2TB drive. Right now I'm booted into Windows 7. So all I gotta do to boot into Windows 10 is shut down the computer, disconnect power and data to this drive, disconnect power and data to the 2TB, and then just connect this drive to these two cables here, and then power on the computer, and it boots directly into Windows 10. And then I just do it, and then if I want to boot back into Windows 7, I just do it in reverse. I know this setup is incredibly complicated for a simple dual boot system, but until I can figure out some way to completely disable disk check whenever I do a dual boot system into Windows 7 or Windows 10 like I wanted to, this is the current way I'm going to have this computer set up. But also I kind of like having the actual main components here, which is the CPU and GPU being an open air system. Because at least this way I won't have to worry about it being constrictive. And generally speaking, it's going to be a lot more cooler this way. The only thing I gotta do is I gotta buy me a better CPU cooler, and I do plan on getting one pretty soon. And the one I'm looking at is a big ass and the one I'm looking at is a big ass Cooler Master cooler, and it's not gonna overheat by any stretch of the imagination, even if I had it in a small case of that CPU cooler. But yeah, this is a long 10-minute boring video. Generally speaking, if anyone made up to here, I'll be amazed. But like I said, with that in the end, hopefully the next video will be me actually starting the build process of the Draken 3, of the Mikamo variant of the Draken 3.